Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Trevor Scott, and with me, as always, is the wonderful Ben Slinger.
Ooh, I'm wonderful this week. I like it.
Yes.
Hello and welcome, everybody. And thank you for listening to this episode 147 of Bitstorm.
Have we got to 147?
I don't know. Let's not jinx it.
Are we going to be at like 150 by PAX?
I think, well, that makes sense. We did at 100 at PAX last year, so it'll be around that time. PAX is coming up. In fact, it may almost just about be here by the time you hear this.
2 weeks' time? Yes, it will be. PAX is this weekend.
There you go. So, I think we will jump in. We're going to do something a little bit different this week. Something we've done before, but don't do that often. We're going to do some adaptations or some tie-ins for popular movies, which, you know, is where we basically we choose a movie. I'm looking at sort of 80s and 90s movies, my heyday, and also just maybe some properties that haven't been touched in a while. But, you know, there's nothing to stop us from doing modern stuff as well, new stuff. But basically grab that movie and see what it inspires us to create if we were to make a video game of that movie.
Cool.
So, I believe you said you would like me to go first.
Yes, because you only sprung on this on me about 2 minutes ago.
This is true. Okay. Now, I'm going to go this one. It caught my eye because I've seen it come up in a couple of contexts recently, and there were games of this back in the day. It's quite possible we've even done a game of this already, and I can't remember it. But anyway, my movie is the classic 1990s Home Alone, starring the wonderful Macaulay Culkin.
Mm-hmm. I think we have actually done this before.
Well, let's do it again.
We can do it again.
Because we'll come up with something different.
Possibly.
And look, I think this this movie is sort of ripe for setting traps and creating...
Well,
manipulating the environment.
Are you going to redo like the original, or is this a new Home Alone sequel set in the same universe?
Yeah.
That maybe this time Kevin McAllister's down on his luck a little bit, and he's actually gone into like the house robbing business,
burglary game. Sure. And it's one of the Wet Bandit's kids is at home. And this kid is well aware of Kevin McAllister because his dad has just like been railing against him for decades now. Mm-hmm. And now 40-year-old Kevin McAllister comes busted drunk into their house, or tries to. Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. We could just go the classic... And you know, obviously put that narrative twist on it, but go the classic sort of set traps, you know, chain reactions of different things. There's some fun to be had there. But we could also take it in a bit more of a bit of a narrative sense, or just change the perspective a bit. Like, I'm wondering what a first-person Home Alone would look like. Maybe make it a bit more of a creepy thriller-type game because... you're a little kid and there's fucking people breaking into your house. You know what I mean?
Okay, I want, though, there to be a vignette every now and again of that you get to play.
Yeah.
Of the parent coming, trying to get home.
Yeah. That works well because that evokes the original movie very well.
Yeah. So you've sort of got like the antics of like trying to get home. Meanwhile, you've got like a scary horror sort of game. So it can almost be sort of like almost what the other one is thinking of what's actually happening. You know, it's sort of like...
So it's actually all from the parent's perspective, you realise?
Well, it's each part, like the scary, you know, kid creating traps and all this sort of stuff is sort of like the parents' thought of what's actually happening to the kid, and then the parent having like a whimsical adventure is what the kid's thinking.
The kid thinks it's happening. That's kind of cool. It's like in there, and at the end, like you find out the truth, and actually
you find out the truth, and it's like the kid literally had pizza for dinner or ice cream for dinner every day, and exactly. That's about it. Yeah, that's cool. It'd be interesting to try to, how you get that across. But I guess, if you just do that twist in the end, and then the parent comes home and they're just like, oh my God, like I thought you were going to get killed by burglars breaking in. The kid's just like, yeah, that's fine. What?
But I'm sure you had a blast come to find me anyway, right? You met all sorts of wacky characters.
One of the things that I remember from the movie is there's like a theory out there that the father was actually like a mobster or something like that. And that's how they got all this money for this beautiful house.
Right.
Like that he was actually, on the take from the mob or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's why, there was a cop who came into the house at the start and all this sort of stuff, and they're just trying to explain why they got such a big house, but this guy doesn't seem to really do anything for work.
Yeah, we can go with that. Well, particularly if we're taking this into, a new generation.
Fantasyland. Yeah.
Although we do run into one of those issues of, modern media where what happened to all the cell phones?
Yep.
Because any modern, 11-year-old has their own phone, and so do their parents. So maybe you have a scene at the beginning where, I don't know.
Well, the phone is being packed away into the luggage, and the luggage is with them. So when she tries to ring the phone, and no one has landlines anymore, so it's not like she can call home because they just do everything on mobile. I can imagine there being a scene where she calls the mobile and it just rings from the luggage that they got there.
Yeah, you can have a little vignette, like you said, a little playable bit where you have to track down where the phone's ringing from.
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So that explains that.
Yeah, sure.
And then, kids don't remember their bloody parents' phone numbers and all that sort of stuff. It's all in their phones nowadays.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe you can have a section where they like go to the neighbor to use their phone, but if they don't know the number.
And neighbors don't talk to each other, so
no. It's like it's in the vein of the scary old man down the street. Or whatever it was was that in the first one or the second one? Anyway.
That was the first one.
Yeah.
The bird lady was in the second one.
Right. But you have that equivalent of the neighbour is like the crotchety old neighbour who nobody talks to, but he goes over there and is actually a nice guy. Yeah.
And not that guy from Hello Neighbour.
God. Oh yeah, I like that. That's fun. You'd switch it up as well.
Make
it the daughter that's at home instead of a son, because I'm pretty sure all 5 Home Alone movies or whatever they ended up making were all
it was always a boy.
Yeah,
equal opportunity child endangerment.
Yeah, exactly. Daughters get left at home too, damn it. And so, is it the daughter then of someone from the franchise already? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe
is it Kevin's daughter?
No, but Kevin's the burglar.
Oh, right, we did say that. Okay.
He can't be both the father and the burglar.
Well, unless we do some sort of dimensional rift thing. No, maybe we won't go into that.
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
It's like an alternate version of Kevin where, his parents never actually went away on trip, but they got brutally murdered by the wet bandits or something like that.
Exactly. He's found his way. Whatever, we could do that.
We can do whatever we want.
Yeah. It's not like we're actually going to make this.
It's our game. Oh, God.
All right, so what I want to go into the gameplay a little bit more because, I like this idea of when you're the girl at home, you are in first person. And you've got that kind of, it gives you that sense of, oh, you're not a full-size human being.
Yep. That sense of scale.
You can't jump up and get something off the fridge. You can't, you need to move things around and I think you're in like a modern house, so you've got security cameras and an alarm system and stuff, and so you can kind of and maybe you have to make sure that those things are set. You need to go outside for something. All right, I'll turn off the alarm. You need to remember to turn it back on. Otherwise, later when evil Kevin shows up, there's at least some way of letting her know that someone's breaking in.
I'm just imagining the whole time that evil Kevin is like ridiculing the shitty traps.
Yes.
It's like, I did better when I was a kid.
Yeah. Fucking Gen Z. You're worse than millennials.
So lazy, and you can't even set up a fucking nail through the floor or a paint can swinging on a rope. Yeah, I like that. God, that is scary. Like, you could just imagine, like, the way that it was so light and happy with the music, but you changed that sort of music to, like, dark, suspenseful.
Oh, yeah. It can be done. Well, and what made me think of it, and here's just a quick little aside that I won't go into, but go and look up Corridor on YouTube. They just did R-rated Home Alone, where they basically re-edited Home Alone to make it that Kevin has killed his entire family, and Harry and Marv are coming to stay in what they think is an Airbnb, and he just murders them. And they, like, put in all these great edits, like CG edits and stuff of the different shots. It's fantastic. Go check it out, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, right. So
3, 2, 1, select.
3, 2, 1, think of the next game.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've really been on a Stephen King sort of thing at the moment.
Yep.
Something I mentioned the other day and you didn't want to go ahead with it was a secret prequel to Christine. I think you playing like a possessed car could actually be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's neat.
So rather than being a secret prequel, it's just a straight
adaptation.
Out like adaptation of Christine.
Sure.
Where you've got some sort of control over the radio. You've got the idea being that you sort of freak the people out.
Yeah, well, I like that idea of it just being these scenes in this car or around this car where, at different times you can select things to do, like turn the windscreen wipers on, honk the horn, turn the lights on and off, start the engine, jam the accelerator, whatever, But it's all just about the timing to kind of push the narrative forward.
To maximize the scare.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And you almost have like a freak out meter. The idea being that, you scare them to death, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think basically each scene, and so funnily enough, the game that's the talk of the town this week is Untitled Goose Game, which I downloaded.
Guess what I bought?
Yeah, I downloaded yesterday. Played it with the kids a bit. It's really good for that. But
I've got it on the Switch, so
nice. But in that, where you've got your checklist almost of things to do. And it's just around the time, like there's sort of timing aspect. So I'm thinking with Christine, you've kind of got, all right, make the dude bro spill his beer, right? And it's all about, honking the horn at the right time when he's taking a drink or something like that. And maybe there are a couple of different ways to do each of these things. And you don't necessarily have like a literal checklist. It's just you're kind of watching these scenes play out and repeat, and they're going about their little routines in the car, and you can take advantage of those moments to sort of realize that, there's something you can do there.
I'm kind of imagining that there's like a scene where, someone's got into the car and, you can sort of leave the controller alone, a la, the start of Spy Party, where the computer sort of takes control. And then as they're driving down the street, you can all of a sudden, start turning the wheel and jamming the accelerator and just sort of scaring the absolute bejesus out of like the little old lady crossing the road or something like that.
Well, I like the idea that it escalates. And I don't remember the book in the slightest, like the actual story or the characters. No. And I don't think we need that. But
it's more the idea of a possessed car.
Yeah. But I wonder if it escalates from early on, it is just like harassment sort of thing, pissing people off, and then scaring them, and then eventually, like, literally murdering them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, there might be a scene where, yes, someone gets into the car and they will take off and start driving, but you notice, like, they didn't put their seatbelt on. So literally, and this is like late game, literally what you need to do is wait for the right time and then just swerve into a lamppost, and they go flying through the windscreen.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, and that's like you kill shot. And you could have some interesting, like, I think you would want character stuff in there. You want narratives around these. Who are these people? It's like this family that has this possessed car, or whether you go through multiple families as they, like, pass it off for being haunted or whatever. But there's a bit of a through line narrative, and you know, these last people you kill are like, they're evil themselves, basically.
You know what I kind of want to have happen as part of this, though? Like, towards the end, you actually find out that Christine and Herbie are actually kind of interrelated.
Maybe they're your parents. Maybe you don't play Christine. You play the love child of Christine and Herbie, the love bug.
Oh, God.
They fucked.
Graphic car sex.
Totally.
That's like the
exhaust pipe action.
Yeah. I just started thinking, you know, that'd actually be kind of cool to see, like, this old sort of Chevy or whatever it is, and like a Volkswagen Beetle.
I think you're saying that the car itself is like a combination of those?
A combination of those.
Yeah. I was thinking you could just have some Easter eggs, like whenever you get returned to, like, the lot that you were bought from, you know, you can see those two cars in the background or something, like you can spot them elsewhere on the lot. Yeah.
I'm kind of almost thinking, if you remember the movie Problem Child, that,
vaguely,
you know, it was sort of like the orphan was sort of causing all this havoc and then getting sent back to the orphanage by all these people.
Right.
And one person sort of takes them on and just tries to change the kids' sort of personality.
Yeah, and they
but
all
of course
fail.
it never actually works.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I reckon we're about done with that one. What's your next game?
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what we do with this. So this could be on the movie or just the general character overall, because this movie was an adaptation already. But I have come across the Bill Pullman, Christina Ricci vehicle, Casper.
Ooh. Yep.
So I'm kind of thinking, like, what can you do with a friendly ghost? Now,
are you the friendly ghost, or are you one of the inhabitants?
Good question. We did just do a haunting game, so maybe you don't play the haunter in this case, although Casper doesn't really haunt, he's friendly.
Yeah. I don't know, I kind of think unlike a typical Hollywood sort of thing where one of their favourite things to do is sort of like not include the title character as much as like all the other characters surrounding it.
Yeah.
I think that this should be front and centre. You play Casper, who, as we all know, is actually the ghost of Richie Rich.
Yep. That's canon.
Yep. So I kind of like the idea of you being Casper the Friendly Ghost. You're helping, you know, the inhabitants over, you know, this time. So at the start, you're helping the girl get some friends, you know, helping her out at a party and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to what happened in the movie.
Yeah.
And then there's like, you can always have like, as she grows up, you know, Casper doesn't grow up.
Oh,
but,
that's
but
interesting.
the girl grows up alongside, and sort of, I can see it being over like a couple of generations of this family or something.
Or, well, I like the idea. There's some comedy to be had there of this girl who has this friendly ghost as a friend and companion throughout her childhood, but now she's 24, and going out to clubs and, like, trying to get laid, and there's this fucking 10-year-old ghost still hanging out and totally harshing her buzz.
God. Oh, shit. That could go down a very, very nasty sort of.
Well, I think you play it for laughs. It's a bit of that. I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a trope in comedy movies of, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a Drop Dead Fred almost, or a whether
that's what I was sort of thinking.
Yeah, where the imaginary friend or even, I haven't seen it yet, but like Christopher Robin, the recent movie is, he's all grown up and Winnie the Pooh or whatever comes back. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but just that general idea of connecting to that childhood. So maybe she hasn't seen Casper in a while, right? Like, and she basically just
he comes back in and goes, "Oh shit!"
Just walks in on it.
Disappears, covering his eyes, but because his hands semi-transparent, he can still see her. Yeah. All right. No, I think that's a great joke. Because I like the narrative of this. Maybe something happened. Like, she was, for like 5 years in her kind of puberty, tween to early teen years, until she was, say, 15. Casper was her friend and helped her with stuff. And you play that at the beginning. And then Casper dies, or like something happens to Casper where she thinks he's been obliterated from existence. The father sends an exorcist in.
Right. Okay, yeah. Like, the father is really troubled because she keeps talking about this ghost she's seeing.
So she gets this priest to come in and bless the house, and so Casper decides to, like, hide for
Well, no, I think
this
it
time.
works. I think there's some mystical thing where he is, like,
he gets sucked into a portal or something, and then when he comes back in,
right? Like, he's de-goopified, de-ectoplasmed or something, and it's taken him this long for his spirit to reform. His G&A, yes, his deoxyribonucleic acid. And so he does just pop back into existence, right? Like, he finally manages to reform himself. It's kind of like fucking Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen, where he's all his bits start coming together.
Mm-hmm. Just took him 15 years to come back.
Yeah. It took him, exactly. It took him 10, 15 years to come back. And he does materialize in her bedroom and she's changing. It's just like, oh shit. And then you've got all this, like, super awkward, attractive, mid-20s woman and this 10-year-old now who... or 11 or whatever.
This perpetual 10-year-old.
Yeah. He never quite managed to hit puberty.
Oh, so that'd suck. Like, to be a 10-year-old permanently.
It's
a 21-year-old permanently would be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Being in that preteen state and you're just starting to get those little feelings,
your voice is
sensations.
Your voice just cracked. And it's like, it's still squeaky.
It's forever.
Oh, God, that'd just be horrible.
Damn that fucking assassin who killed Richie Rich right at that age.
Yeah, okay. I really, really like this idea. I think it's ripe for lots of fun and gameplay. I think some of the things that that you're helping out with at first, you sort of got similar missions, almost kind of like our previous game with the Untitled Goose Game.
Yeah.
You've got sort of things that you got to do.
Yep.
In a checklist sort of thing.
Or at least just an implicit check, or like little scenes where there's a number of things you can blow some pieces of paper off the table, or you can pick something up and move it and scare someone, or like distract someone.
Yeah, in Casper, obviously you had the three uncles who, were causing mischief all over the place, so you had to sort of stop them from doing things. So you can definitely have, some sort of keep them occupied while the party's going on.
Yeah.
While also, shaking the chandelier and making the party look all hip and...
Yeah, or like... Once
the Halloween party's supposed to be haunted and all this.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, once she gets back into the idea of having you around, she, like, she wants to do a seance and have you make it look legit, and so you have to do things there, but you're also trying to juggle other things around the house or something. So if you don't get back there in time, you can embarrass her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could so go on and on and on about my biggest pet peeve about movies where they call the movie one thing, like, I don't know, Spider-Man, and then they spend the entire time on Peter Parker. It's like, I don't give a shit about Peter Parker.
That's a bit different, because big part of Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Yeah, but just because you got a digital suit and therefore you don't want to spend the big bucks, you can't give me 15 minutes of Spider-Man and then the rest of it Peter Parker.
You got your panties in tonight. Is this about the recent one?
I haven't even seen that.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking more about the 2002 Spider-Man, and then when everyone loves the Spider-Man 2, where he's going up against Doc Ock, and then halfway through he gives up being Spider-Man for an hour. Fuck you!
You're still salty about fucking Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, don't get me started about the third one where he fucking danced.
Yeah.
Okay. Next game.
Yeah, go. Your turn.
So, I know that they did a game about this, but to me, there weren't enough prison breaks in Prison Break the game. So,
did they do a game?
I'm pretty sure they actually did a game.
I think we've done a game.
Either way.
Of this, but that's fine as well.
I kind of like the idea, now that VR is a thing and it's becoming more mainstream, that, basically you've got the tattoo, so you've got the plan, and you've got to sort of get things happening together.
Yeah.
So you can sort of get your crew together, and then you're sort of making the plan as you sort of go along, based along, sort of things on your tattoos or whatever. So you got to try and look out for the guards and all this sort of stuff. Kind of like A Way Out, but just more systems based and that sort of stuff. I do
like the idea of, because his tattoo in the movie was on his back, wasn't it?
Yep.
So he had to have other people like.
Oh, it was all across the body and the back, and down the arms and that sort of stuff.
But I like the idea of in VR specifically having to like physically look at them, like go to a mirror, and you'd probably have to have some sort of like highlighting system once you've sort of figured out, this is this part of the map or whatever. But you don't just.
This is the clue. This is what we're
the clue.
doing.
Yeah, but you don't just have that at all times unless it's easily visible on your arms or something from your perspective, right? Like you have to find a mirror if you want to look at it again.
Yeah. Like one of the things that I think A Way Out did well was the fact that it was like a two-player cooperative sort of game.
Yeah.
I kind of do like that idea, but I think the escape in A Way Out was a little bit too simplistic and happened very, very fast.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of it being, a little bit more having to actually come up with a plan. Maybe there's a couple of different plans that you can sort of do in this game. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Prison Break direct rip-off.
Yeah, of course.
But more around, okay, here are the things that could work, but you won't know till you're actually inside. And the guards can actually interfere at any time, so you got to be there for counts and that sort of stuff. And it's more about a thinking about how you would actually go ahead getting out of this thing. Yeah,
well, I do like that idea of time really playing a part, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you do the two-player thing or not. It could be interesting, particularly in VR if you're doing that, but. Things like, okay, that this guard, like the guards are coming down or head counts at this time or whatever, but like how do you know what time it is? And so part of your strategy can be, well, I need to find a timepiece just to even be able to track this stuff. And then you need to find somewhere you can hide it because it's contraband, right? Like different things. And you could even make that systems based. It's like, okay, there's a bunch of hiding spots around this prison that you can find, whether it's a loose brick or behind the toilet or whatever, right? Like inside your mattress and different stuff. But you don't have to hide one thing in any particular place. Like that's up to you as a player.
Yeah, I mean, you could have it on your person and find a time to actually pass it off to your partner, but you don't know if you're going to have time to actually pass it to your partner.
Before you're like searched or something, you know. And obviously different pieces of contraband are more or less obvious to be carrying around or to be hiding in certain places. And I like the options that you've got there. It would definitely be tricky to create this world in a way where there's these different things that are possible based on the systems, but I don't know, It feels doable.
I kind of like the idea of having to sort of, once you get the timepiece, then you can start recording the changeover of the guard and that sort of stuff. So you sort of understand, okay, if it takes me 5 minutes to do this and then 4 minutes to get to here, at the next guard changeover, I've got this amount of time to get back, and you need to sort of be thinking about when to leave. And
yeah, exactly. And having to improvise if you run into snags where you run late, or you need ways to maybe signal your cellmate to cover for you in some way. Pretend you're in the bed, or I don't know, like different different things you can do. And maybe you can there's some character stuff in there too where you can get on the good side of certain guards and maybe pay them off or promise them things, or just get information from them, which is going to help you figure out your plan.
Yeah, and the idea of having a time limit to sort of enact the plan, kind of like I did like the way that what's it called? Did it Dead Rising, where you had a 48-hour time limit, and certain things were going to happen as you went through the game, and so maybe it starts when there's like a 48-hour time window.
Yeah,
and you've got certain things that you got to get done, and if you don't get it done, then you can restart the day. And
maybe not 40. Like maybe you've got a week. And at the end of each day is basically a save point of sorts where you can go back to any the end of or the start of any other day and play from there again, because you're like, oh fuck, okay, I didn't have enough time. I got to day 6 and I didn't have enough time to do this. So all right, I'm going to go back to day 3 where I think I was pretty well on, and I'm going to play those last 3 days again to try and do it better, to set me up better for the actual escape. Yeah, because I like that idea that actually managing, pulling off the escape is actually, pretty tricky. And you probably do have to just try different strategies on different days and build up your resources so that by the time limit, you've got everything you need to pull off your plan.
Yeah, and the idea that, you've done this amazing day one. Well, you've set yourself up for the rest of the game. You can at any time come back to that day one, but if you do come back to that day one, any of the future progress is gone.
Yes, exactly. You have to play from...
Or it saves your best time. So,
well, then, I don't know. I think you have to play through it again. I think you're basically going back and wiping out what you've done after that point, because, otherwise you're just sort of... Well, for one, you're probably going to run into paradoxes, because there might be things you can do on day 4 that if you could go down try to get day 3 better, that's going to mess up day 4. You know what I mean? So
true.
Yeah.
I think until you actually clear it, you can move forward with the previous best. But the second that you beat that time, or get in a better position, you can choose. Okay, I want to save this and replace the previous.
Right. Yeah. You
save.
can try. Yeah. Yeah. Basically, you don't have to necessarily commit that day unless you want to. But then, but once you do, it's wiped out.
It wipes out
all
future progress.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's cool.
I think there's so much that you could do with that you may find out that, oh, look, back on day 1, I had this opportunity to get this. I had a better opportunity to get the screwdriver, so I'm going to have to go back and play day 1 again.
Yeah.
But then when you play day 1, you realize, oh no, there wasn't actually an opportunity to get that.
Or there was a different trade-off that means, the thing you did on day 3 that worked quite well isn't going to work, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The idea that, if what you were thinking didn't actually work. You didn't actually, just by going back and replaying that first day, you haven't actually totally wasted your progress until you committed at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then you've got, less risk versus reward sort of stuff. I think the risk would be too high if you wiped everything out the second that you even tried to attempt that game.
Yes, for sure. For sure. It gives you the opportunity to experiment a bit more.
Yep.
But doesn't make it too
experimentation,
easy.
Especially in games today, is
you don't want to piss people off by saying, "Oh no, you fucked that up, and now you got to do all this boring shit again that you already have figured out or done."
Yeah, and the idea that once you've gone through a conversation once, you can skip the conversations again. You don't have to listen to them all.
Yeah, well, you could almost you could take a page from Life is Strange where you can jump straight to decision points and it'll tell you when there's new stuff based on other changes you've made or something.
Yeah,
basically branches you haven't seen.
Yeah, that's really cool, and kind of almost the idea of, and then this will happen. Kind of like you're planning out the whole thing.
Yeah.
You go back in time during the game to say,
oh, well, I like the idea that
putting into plans and all that sort of stuff.
Well, so how about this? When you do one of those, like, okay, you've gone back 3 days and committed that day, you've still got some access to what you did on those previous days, in that that's kind of your knowledge of what reactions might happen. Like, that's your planning. And so you could kind of put that under the gameplay mechanism of just like, maybe you have to, I don't know, talk to that guard again or something, but then that gives you back a big chunk of the map or the knowledge that you had from those 3 days that you've now erased, basically. And the idea is that, oh, well, no, that was just me thinking it through.
Yeah. And you can play around with those sort of systems of, this is you and your amazing brain working through the problems, and these are the most likely outcomes on this particular day.
Yeah.
What I'm going to be able to get done.
Yeah.
And I think the manager in the background trying to actually, keep track of all these things that you've gone through could be rather hectic.
Oh, of course. But whatever.
We're
not
talking about games that...
Yeah.
We just come up with the idea. We don't actually intend to ever bring this into fruition.
Not this one. This one's definitely pie in the sky. But that's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Shall we move on?
Yes, we should.
I've been clicking through. I've had a few different ideas. But one that's kind of grabbed me just because it's a little bit fun. It's a little bit whimsical. 1996's Mars Attacks.
Ooh, okay.
And what I want this to be is just what can we explore kind of a fun, arcadey kind of shooter.
On the rail shooter? Maybe.
It could be.
Kind of like a Virtual Cop
or
sort
like
of thing.
A Time Crisis sort of situation. Yeah, that could be cool. But what I was thinking is to take from Mars Attacks is that it was an ensemble cast and showed like the perspective of a lot of different people, right? And so the game like switches back and forth between a few people's stories, and then each of them also has just different weapons and stuff, right? So it mixes up the gameplay a bit as well.
Yep. Okay, I like this. Obviously, your big secret weapon is that yodeling.
Yeah, whatever the music
artist.
Or whatever. Is that what it was? Was it yodeling?
Yeah, it was like a crooner sort of.
Yeah, I think it was just
thing.
Like country music or something, wasn't it? Or no, I can't remember.
Yeah, but he was sort of. Oh, you know what I mean. He was.
Yeah.
Doing the high pitched.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yeah. I need to watch that movie again, obviously, but.
Yeah, oh god damn, it was such a good film. And the fact that they killed all like the big cast.
Oh yeah.
Like you just
like doesn't Michael J.
didn't
Fox
know
die,
who was
like,
actually
really quickly and
I know that Jack Nicholson does.
Right.
Like
yeah.
But he's in it twice as two different characters. Right. But then you got Pierce Brosnan and Sarah Jessica Parker that get get their heads sort of taken off and put on dogs.
That's right. Well, and you could bring that sort of shit into it.
That's a cool vignette.
Yeah, for sure. You have a little section where you're fucking running around on rails again, but as a dog, and all you can do is like bite at ankles and things. All right, well, look, let's take this as an actual arcade shooter, though, because we've never done that before. So it's an on-rails arcade shooter. You do it 2-player, like a Time Crisis or something. And yeah, it's Mars is attacked, and you've got a little bit of intro story that kind of shows that, shows a brief version of an opening scene where they come down and you think it's all going to be all peaceful, and then they just start disintegrating people. And then, yeah, you play a couple of characters who are there. Like, maybe that's the first scene. Now it's just, oh shit, we're out at Area 51 or something, or we're out in the desert wherever they landed, and we're blasting aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember enough of the actual characters, so let's just come up with, like, new characters who would be involved in this in some way.
Yep. So you start off as a news cameraman?
Okay, yeah, that's cool. Oh, I kind of like the idea
that that one is you literally running around trying to capture the footage.
Okay.
And it's sort of like,
well,
you're hiding behind.
I wonder if you can switch back and forth. Like, I'm kind of picturing this idea of, you've got your light gun that you're holding from the beginning, and the little cutscene is shit starts going down. Yeah, you're the camera person. But you run behind something and you pick up a gun, like just a pistol. But from that point on, you can hit the button on the side and it switches back and forth between your camera and your gun. And there's some, gameplay purpose that you need to be capturing this, whether it's just, it's a objective to make sure you capture certain things. But at the same time, you're trying to protect yourself from these fucking aliens.
So my question is this, and I know I've sort of talked to you about doing something like this before, the idea of having like a VR on the rail shooter. So you're actually in VR. There's probably certain points that you need to get to. You got free movement in between, or you've got teleporting movement, and each teleport is sort of like you're teleporting to the next. As such. The next scene. Yeah. So it doesn't unlock until you've sort of cleared out a scene.
Yeah, that could be cool. You could maybe make this the first one that is both. Like, if you've got the VR version, you've got a bit of extra stuff where, once you've like cleared out a scene, you can now kind of explore a bit. Maybe it expands out the narrative, so you get a bit more environmental storytelling, and you get some little scenes play out, and then, once you sort of teleport, or once you get to that next section, you're locked in again. And now it's the rail shooter for that next bit.
Yeah, I just really think it would translate so well to that light gun game of you're trying to shoot all these people really quickly, switching between targets and hiding behind cover and that sort of stuff. But you're physically having to hide behind cover.
Yeah,
sort of
for
thing.
Sure, that would be really cool. Yeah, look, I think you could definitely go either way. And particularly if you end up more narrative heavy, you don't want to be doing that on an arcade machine.
Yeah, and home TVs don't really like doing light gun sort of stuff. But VR works perfectly for light gun.
No. What I do like about it being in the arcade is how easy you set up 2-player stuff, because I'm thinking, like, even with that first scene, you could play a news team. And you can decide either like, all right, you do the filming, I'm going to do the shooting. Like, I'm going to protect you while you get the footage we need. Or if you're playing single player, you need to be switching back and forth. But you could, even with 2-player, like, just split up the tasks you need to do. It's like, okay, you need to get a shot of, a Martian killing an official, a high-ranking official, and I'm going to get the shot of, a Martian ship crashing or something, or someone getting disintegrated or whatever.
And I'm going to get a shot of you shooting this guy in the head.
yeah, exactly.
One of the things that I was sort of thinking about was, what was it? Oh, crap. I just thought about it. In, like, say, The Division and that sort of stuff, you had, like, covering fire that you could actually do.
Yep.
So if you fired a lot of shots at like an enemy who was behind cover, they'd be ducking behind cover and sort of reacting to that. So the idea of, okay, the cameraman needs to get across here, but he can't get across because they're continually shooting. Okay, so lay down some covering fire. Now he can teleport over there, and now you're hiding again, and only laying down when they need to. I do
like that idea of
try and get their
suppressive fire. That's cool. Or even just not when they're trying to get from one place to the other necessarily, but they're just trying to get the shot. Like they're trying to get a particular shot of something over there, but there's too much gunfire, and so you can just like lay down suppressive fire while they get that shot. Yeah, that's cool actually.
Yeah, it's not done enough in these sort of games. It's always these people are always going to sort of come out into the open, and they're just going to always be out there. But the idea of having one or two enemies that you're sort of going up against, but if you shoot too many times at them, they're going to hide behind the cover. They're going to actually be thinking about that while also getting a bit of twitch sort of shooting happening as well.
Yeah, no, that's cool. All right, and really so you get some stuff with this news team, and I think you switch back to them here and there, and so you've got basically missions where it's like, okay, we're trying to capture certain footage, and you're sort of trying to get this whole situation out to the world, as well as at the same time you're getting better weapons to shoot with and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, okay, you've got the couple who end up getting experimented on. So maybe they get captured, like they've been captured really early on, and so maybe their stuff is actually going through like a Martian spaceship. And so I'm just trying to think of, how does their gameplay differ? It could be interesting that if theirs is a bit more close quarters. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know if this would work in the light gun arcade version, but it could be interesting to switch to theirs, and theirs is more about like swinging melee weapons. And so it's like you're ducking behind a corner and waiting for a Martian to come around, and then you just like smash a fucking crowbar into that giant, dome of theirs and smash it open, and the heads explode.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking almost like a Gorn sort of.
Yeah, that's my mind went there too, for sure. And so, and then being able to, and then you've got some gameplay around, and particularly if you're doing 2-player, like distracting a guard so that the other person can get into a room to like hit a switch, or
being able to literally pick up a stone and throw it.
Yeah, exactly. That could be cool to have.
Why hasn't this been done already?
To multiplayer VR is a hard sell. I think there's not much of an audience there.
Yeah, but you can do it in single player too.
You could. And then, I think the sort of end of their little story, or the last act of their little story is they get put onto dogs' heads or whatever, onto dogs' bodies. And so the last part of them is you're down at ankle level and, attacking people or Martians or whatever to escape.
Cool. I do enjoy it when we get to play around with these different film properties.
Oh, it's fun. And look, I think tonight we've mostly just been taking them as inspiration in general, but that's awesome. That's fun.
Yeah. So I've got a joke one and a somewhat real one.
All right, let's see which one we do longer on. Sometimes joke ones turn into good ones.
Yeah. So I had an idea to do Battleship the movie, the video game.
Off. Battleship the movie, the video. So Battleship the board game, the movie, the video
game. Yeah. So that was my joke.
Well, hang on, because I didn't even see Battleship. What happened in the movie?
Liam Neeson.
Was it literally just battleships firing each other, or was there something?
So what actually happened is like aliens came down and sort of destroyed their radar, so that in this one particular area they didn't know where the alien ships actually were.
They had to figure out a way to just to make people blind fire. Okay.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. So that's kind of funny.
You could do some interesting stuff though with like some sort of strategy game where you're able to basically knock out the radar and stuff.
Yeah, but all of a sudden I was going down the Hunt for Red October sort of path, and I'm like, I'm not kind of interested in that. But then that brought me to something that my son's been watching a lot of, which is the movie Pixels.
Okay. Also haven't seen it. Heard it's pretty terrible in a somewhat humorous way.
I didn't think it was as bad as what the reviews actually said.
Okay.
Like, it's a typical, like, happy medicine sort of film.
Yeah.
They could have done it a little bit better than what they did, but I do like the idea of these classic sort of games being done in a different way. So, you know, there was, like, Breakout in 3D sort of thing. There was pretty much a full-on Donkey Kong sort of thing done in almost first person. Just the idea of taking these old arcade games and turning them into like a first person thing could actually be kind of
okay,
kind of awesome.
So this is almost a Wreck-It Ralph-ish sort of element to it as well, of just this world where these things are mixed up.
Yeah.
Are you thinking we take the Pixels idea and it's them coming into like the real world, the modern world, or
yeah, you're sort of going with, because it's never going to get made anyway. You're taking the old classic sort of arcadey games and just turning them on their head, kind of like what they did in the film with Pac-Man, where they were all driving like the cars as basically the ghosts. So you were chasing down Pac-Man, but of course if he got one of the pellets, then you had to like get the fuck away, because you know with a power pellet he can eat a ghost. So the idea of being able to actually drive around and try to bump into Pac-Man, I think that could be kind of cool. In Centipede, it was like they had light guns and they were shooting the shit out of like all the mushroomy sort of things, trying to destroy the Centipede. You could do Space Invaders from that same sort of view of shooting up
into the sky. So is all this stuff happening at once, do you think, then, or like at least multiples of them at the same time?
Yeah, it's just sort of like little vignettes is what was happening in the movie.
Yeah. Well, I'm just wondering, for the game. So are we talking first person shooter basically?
Yeah, first person shooter with, you know, obviously some maybe third person elements when you're driving cars and that sort of stuff.
Because I'm trying to picture a scene where you're like, okay, you're out on the streets, and if you look up, you're taking out Space Invaders that are coming down. You know, if you're trying to head towards this way, but you have to take out segments of centipedes as you go. Like, I'm sort of trying to figure out how much is it all integrated in these different scenes. Is this a Call of Duty style set piece heavy, you know?
Yeah, I reckon you could actually do that sort of thing, like you know, continuous waves of different pixel enemies in between. Like you get to the set piece of now the Space Invaders are coming down, and sort of almost does the Borderlands thing of bang, it's this boss guy that you're going up against now,
right? Yeah,
and it's like now you got to deal with this. You know, you can get under the cover and then sneak out from under it and shoot the Space Invaders. One of the funny things that I actually read about Space Invaders the other day is it was never actually coded for the Space Invaders to get faster if they went down. It was just that the way it was actually coded, the number of sprites on the screen at once slowed the frame rate right down. And then by the time it actually got to 1, it was able to go at the actual clock speed.
I did see that, although I think the video I saw said that is what, like, he noticed that happening. The creator noticed that happening originally, but then liked it and actually coded it into the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yes, it was based on the less pixels, the faster they were able to process, and so it went faster. But
But I'm just imagining like an asteroids part that, you know, you get into this massive ship and you just you know, in 3D, you know, shooting the asteroids as they're coming in closer and
bits and smaller and smaller.
Oh god, that'd be
cool.
That'd be freaking amazing.
Yeah.
Missile command, you know, you got all these missiles coming in, you got to sort of send up the chaff to sort of explode the missiles in the atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just so many cool games that you can sort of take on.
Yeah, I could see that working well. And then again, I didn't see pixels, so was there a reason this was all happening? Like, is this, in our game, is it going to be that you are trying to, obviously, I mean, presumably you're trying to stop this from happening, but...
Yeah, you're trying to save Earth, basically.
Yeah.
What happened in the movie was some footage went out into space of basically, this video game competition. But it got received by these digital aliens,
right? Who
basically took it as a call to war, because it's all these pixels being destroyed, and they're digital aliens that are somewhat pixelated.
Yeah.
So they took it as this is an active war. So they came down to actually play these games. To actually,
I just saw on Wikipedia that Kevin James plays the President of the United States. So you've sold me. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'll watch it one day.
It's on Netflix, so.
Oh, is it? No, I just searched. It's not. They must have taken it off.
Oh, no, sorry. My son has been watching it on my Plex. That's where he watches it. It used to be on Netflix.
Yeah, I remember seeing it.
That's where he watched it the first
while
time.
we were talking, just like ran through all our streaming services, and it's not available on any of them. But
yeah.
All right, let's do one more. Give me a moment.
Because we've each had one, a whole heap, 3 each.
Yeah.
Let's come up with one together.
Okay. So, can we combine one? Should we do a 3, 2, 1? Say it, and we'll try to.
Let me quickly.
Yeah, I don't have one yet. But I'm just wondering if we basically try to take the combination of whatever we come up with. All right, I've got one ready in the chamber.
Okay, I need to think.
It's one that's been done quite a few times before, but I'm interested to see where we can take a combination of this and something else.
Yep. Okay.
You got one?
Yeah, I do.
All right, we'll do a 3, 2, 1 and say it.
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Jurassic Park.
Dark Crystal.
Jurassic Park and Dark Crystal combined. Yep. Awesome. All right. You are going to have to give me a quick recap of Dark Crystal because I have not seen it in many years. It was not one that kind of...
Yes, I watched it just the other day and getting prepared for the prequel series.
Yes, I saw that was out.
So you've got the Skeksis and the Mystics.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually like the same sort of entity. It's just that they got split at like the last Great Conjunction.
Okay.
Basically, what's happened over the years is they realized that there was a like prophecy for a Gelfling who would come and destroy the Skeksis' current way of living. So they went out and like murdered all of them. And finally,
dark.
the Gelfling comes back and causes the Skeksis and the Mystics to join together and become this other being, the good and the bad, as it were, sort of joining together, and then Age of Prosperity going forward.
And then they created dinosaurs.
well, just the idea of having like, well, you could have the actual big monsters that you're sort of going up against in the journey to the castle.
All right. So there was basically a quest that they had to go on to get something.
Yeah, basically, first of all, he had to go on a quest to see Augra to get a shard of the Dark Crystal, and then get to the Dark Crystal and during the Great Conjunction make the Dark Crystal whole again.
Okay.
By inserting the shard as like all 3 suns came together. And yes, that's right, there are 3 suns on this planet.
Let's not go into the physics of that, Michael. All right, so I'm just trying to figure out how we work Jurassic Park into this. Do we just make it that like it's this similar sort of quest, except they have to go through a dinosaur park? Like the castle is in the center of...
I think what you could actually do is have this sort of set on... It's actually set on Earth instead of the other planet. One of the things that sort of happened at the end of the the last Jurassic World movie was that now dinosaurs are sort of roaming the land.
Okay. Yes.
The idea being that, this Skeksis / Mystic thing has actually occurred in the far future, where dinosaurs are still roaming the land. There's no real humans anymore because they sort of got wiped out because they were stupid and
or
climate
at least
change. Or
Gelflings are like
descendants of humans or something.
Yeah.
And the Skeksis are somewhat bird-like, but they're actually like very, very smart dinosaurs that are sort of.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So it's just many, many years in the future that you have like the smart raptor-like dinosaurs that are actually
that become the Skeksis, basically, or become both of them, I suppose, the Mystics as well, in some sense. But, all right, so we're basically doing a Dark Crystal game, but it's got this lore that goes back to we put in little Easter eggs and little history stuff of the land that they live on is like Inublar or something.
Yeah, I like the idea of you actually, if you go off the beaten path, you actually see like a ruined Jeep that is completely rusted out and all this sort of stuff. Like kind of like in Jurassic World, you actually got to see some of the original Jurassic Park stuff.
Yes,
because they were actually on the same island. Yeah, the same island.
Okay.
Just again the idea that there's some Jurassic stuff available off the beaten path, but
it's almost a sequel in itself.
Yes.
So what are we thinking? Is this just like a third-person action adventure?
Yeah, I think you've got enough set pieces and stuff that can actually happen.
Like, because there's two of them who go on this quest sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
So is this a companion?
In the new series, there's 3 of them.
Right. Is this
so you can maybe have like a Lost Vikings sort of thing?
Yeah, maybe they've each got different skills. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it kind of just goes into classic third-person action platformer at that point.
Yeah,
we've ticked off all the boxes. Otherwise, I'm not sure there's much gameplay-wise that affects it from what you're doing. But you could have some really nice, beautifully modelled landscapes and scenery and.
Yeah, I think sort of going off the Far Cry idea of, it's a sort of big open land and, it's sort of like the Far Cry slash Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, or I'm even thinking
idea of
like Jak and Daxter 2 or whatever. Like was it that one that had the open world? But it's very platformy, but you've got kind of a hub and an open world and different missions that show up and stuff. Yeah, that could be cool to really make give you some opportunity for character development. And
unlike this whole thing being set as part of the Great Conjunction, I think it's actually set numerous years sort of before the Great Conjunction, so that you don't have necessarily a time limit that you got to get there by the time that the suns all converge.
Yeah. Well, again, I think we're kind of just taking inspiration almost. So they're not even necessarily these the same species and things from Dark Crystal. It's more just the general idea of the sort of two
there's a really dark
races
castle
that
sort
both
of thing.
have descended from dinosaurs, and then the Gelflings that have descended from humans, and just the society that's cropped up around that.
Yeah, now I'm picturing you got a similar sort of castle there. You've got the sort of slavery stuff that's actually happening with those goddamn Skeksis because they are fucking raw. Like
I need to watch it again.
Oh, I sat there watching it, going, "Oh my god, this is such a rich world, but fuck me, it's dark." Like I just didn't realize how dark it actually was.
Yeah.
But it makes me want to watch the new series all the more. I just haven't had the time to actually watch it because I'm wondering if my wife wants to watch it with me.
It's always the question.
She may not because she didn't really like the Dark Crystal. I don't know why.
You know what? It's definitely one of those ones that's a little bit tougher to get into. compared to other classics of that era.
Labyrinth.
Well, Labyrinth is one that it always seems to kind of be compared to, I guess, just because it's Jim Henson and such. But yeah, it's it's not one that I remember fondly, particularly from my childhood. It was there, and I saw it maybe once or twice, but nothing like Labyrinth or Princess Bride, which are the other two that kind of fall definitely into. And I think just because they're puppet based, well, Princess Bride.
Yeah, but then again, I look at it and I loved Labyrinth and Dark Crystal. Didn't really watch Princess Bride till like in my teens.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Like my late teens.
Yeah. I think there's a meme there. The like two types of people of whether they were, or three types
Everyone
of people,
Labyrinth,
which
but only depending on which one you loved more.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I know that my sister absolutely hated the Dark Crystal because she always got freaked out by Aughra.
I feel like there are definitely less people where Dark Crystal would be like their really influential one. But that'd be interesting. We should put up a poll.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
awesome.
I think we shall end it there tonight. Thank you for joining us this week on Bitstorm. If you want to find us online, you can go to podchaser.com/Bitstorm. All of our stuff is there. Follow our podcast. You'll get updates in your feed of new releases. Follow our creator profiles. You'll get updates in your feed when we guest on other shows, which, hopefully we'll do a little bit more of. And hell, follow our user profiles and you'll see what we're rating and reviewing on Podchaser as well. There's lots of stuff there. And now this is just a plug for my site, podchaser.com, because it is awesome. Also, we are part of the 8-Bit Network, the 8-Bit Collective. You can go to 8bit.net and see a bunch of other great podcasts there. A bunch of, Australian, mostly podcasters doing things, again, mostly around games, but sports and a variety of other things too. Check them out. They are awesome people.
Now we'd also like you to check out the AGP and the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. They will be back with Party Mode this year at PAX,
yes.
So tune in for that.
Got to take
That's
down
the Australasian Gaming
Nostradamus.
Podcast. Yes, but Jason isn't going to be there this year, so is it really Nostradamus?
Good. Yeah, that's true. It's just
wonder who they're going to get in to replace... Wonder who they're going to get to replace Jason.
Good question. We shall find out in a couple of weeks.
Yep. Well, this weekend, because this is...
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, so search for @AGP Network on Twitter or the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook. Finally, we'd like to thank Kuridas for the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure.
Yeah. All right. So thank you again for joining us this week on Bitstorm. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And we come in peace.